Greetings from the dark side of Phobos. I almost said what I said the first time I tried to record this. I'm Scythe, and welcome to patch notes for Chaos Lite 1.1.7. Did I say that right? Yes, okay. So, since a certain other update is taking a while, I thought I might as well push my bug fix patch. It does contain other things. It does not contain a few things. A little bit early. I just need to grab some patch notes and then we can get started. A giant thing that I'm going to mention now is the fact that there's no new entities in this patch. It is just updating existing entities. The entities may have gotten other things available to them, but nothing was really added. For a complete list of changes, please refer to the changelog within the package. Because I know I'm going to miss something intentionally, or leave something out, or something. Well, obviously, the first listed thing I have on this changelog is music is compressed to take less overall space overall. Mostly because, going over our first change of this patch is going to be the weapon spawners, which I have previously tried to explain in another video, so if you want more details about that, they are a link of that should be in the description below. But Shuffle Lite and Shuffle Lite Plus have been added. A Redux Super Shuffle has been also added. However, Hell's Magician is lacking from this patch due to the fact that I just need more time to figure out weapons and such. This goes the same for the monsters. If you notice, their options are missing from the what's going on here? From the list here. I added an option to disable the plasma handgun if you really wanted to. Sorry about the delays in my voice here. Anyway, speaking of the recharge plasma handgun, now emptying the entire recharge cell does not allow you to swap weapons still, but allows you to deploy mines and throw grenades, but at a slightly chunky recharge state. I might fix that for 1.2, but there still should be some penalty for depleting the internal cell of this plasma handgun. Also, if you use JBD 4.4. Whatever, his versions will be overwritten by the ones in this. So the next thing is going to be regarding the phase rifle. Now, I'm still working on some of the techniques of it, but when firing at the surface now, the decals will be purple instead of green. Alright, since I have these guys here, I might as well go over to their changes. Probably in order, starting with the legendary avatar, but the notion of what to see here is the fact that they emit light GL defs, whatever. Pretty much that it totally negates what my whole plan was, to limit the number of particles being taken up by them while they're doing other particle stuff. But, you know, everybody gets away with it, apparently. Recolored all of the projectile types for the legendary avatar and succubus. Oh, also, before I continue on, I gave everything colored tags, so things work better. Reduce the avatar's height, so he gets stuck less. Apparently that made him faster a little bit. He's also a bit, like, wanting more of a fair legendary recolor, I guess. Might look into that in the future as well. Adjusted some of his attacks. For the legendary succubus, I have changed some of her sounds. Made her more aggressive. I also redid the legendary succubus's attacks, so she no longer has colorful, random colored attacks, I should say. Renamed the Shadow Legendary Succubus, so moving on. To the Phantom Succubus, reduced her health by half, gave her phasing states, added resistance to Nemesis weapons, half of her default damage factor. Did a bunch of other things. For this. Ow. When she enters her heal state, she will now identify herself with the green aura. Moving on. So the succubi in general have been changed as well, thanks to a future version of, I guess, them, I guess. What I'm trying to say is some of the Nightmare Succubus upgrades or things have rubbed off on the other succubi. Kind of like how, okay, kind of more directed attacks and some other changes like comets, and basically there was a bunch of changes. The minions she spawns now are now known as Shadow Gargoyles. And will now lunge at you if they're close enough. It's still important to attack the caster rather than the minions. When the caster is out of the way, take out the minions. Mostly because she can't spawn any more minions if they still exist. So a general change of all Chtulthu monsters existing in Chaos Lite is the ability to actually disable them. I stated in the past that that was possible through the disabled Chtulthu options and the CF options. Apparently, I made a mistake in where that was actually taking effect, and that should actually be fixed now. So they become whatever they're supposed to be replacing, for example. Which leads us to our next grouping, the Chtulthu group of Chaos Lite. If you're looking for the other two, they're not in this patch, unfortunately. Going on about their general changes, they become more aggressive, and, well, let's start with Cerno, for example. Cerno has gotten more of a dodge motif. Well, they all have. Her offsets of her projectiles have been changed. Her projectile colors have been changed. Her damage rain on her comets have been fixed. Her drops have been slightly adjusted. Moving on to Winter Storm Ikyu, even though Orin comes first on this list. Made her Lightning Storm more intense by having it spawn around her as well. She also gets the dodge states, as I previously mentioned. Extended the Lightning Strike on Winter Storm Ikyu by 2 more chances. In other words, she has 2 more bursts of lightning. Added some more effects to her various existence. Namely, I changed her aura from Legendary Glow to Lightning Puffs, basically. Again, Hex and Lightning has been removed in favor of whatever this lightning is. And it does not affect her allies, so that's why I changed all of the lightning. Her minions are now called Lightning Souls instead of Winter Storm Souls. They will also do the lunge. They will not deal damage to their allies either. So if you're expecting some infighting there, it won't happen. Mostly to prevent them from infighting with Winter Storm Ikyu. Yeah, definitely way harder to hit. And invincible. The storm is more intense, as I was saying. I think I added more effects on the storm as well. I realize I also have no target on. So that leaves us with Shadow Orin. Shadow Orin, yeah, mostly aggressiveness. Most of the things for her are because of, well, how rare she is. I'm not sure where I'm going with this, per se. Boosted her spawning rate again. Technically, Gory Carriers will not spawn in Chaos Light 1.1.7 due to the fact that they are broken currently. So Orin has taken the spawn weight for now. Adjusted some things with her minions, but I won't go into that. Generally, she just got some fixes, minor ones. Trying to see if there's anything of real note on here for her, but it doesn't look like it. Pretty much, her aggressiveness has just been really increased. In case. I think she'll attack more now. She doesn't have the dodge states of the like the others, but she also deals the same lightning. Just purple. Moving on. The blue Catharsis, it will no longer be known as just the blue Catharsis, and has become the corrupted Catharsis to match the DBFG theme. With the appropriate, like, name tag and whatever. I expected you to die! Also, he no longer overly explodes. Like, he'll explode at a decent volume now. Moving on to the Spirit Imp. Did I do anything special for him, aside from fixing his crashing issue and his orbits? No, there's no real balance issue with the Spirit Imp. Just general fixes. AKA he won't crash anybody who ever used anything related to Mega Man 8-Bit Deathmatch, for example. Or just randomly crash because of some sort of other issue. Hopefully this solves the crashing issues of everybody else. I only tested it with a certain configuration file, so that I know that actually crashed every time I attempted it. Get him to attack. His ghost is now different in terms of it'll actually move faster, so you're less waiting for it to pick a target, for example. Why did you go backwards? Further proving my point that they don't overly death explode anymore. Moving on. The Dark Imp is now known as the Crimson Imp. Kind of like Crimson Chin, but, you know. His general change is he'll actually keep looking at you when charging his laser. Or his railgun, sorry. And his name. Moving on. So our next change is going to be on the... Okay, that decorate thing looks wrong for some reason. Anyway, it's going to be on the Infected Hunter. Namely, mostly in his sprites. These are in-between sprites. I am still deciding whether or not to change his sprites again. You can see some of the errors I left behind. But pretty much a nicer version of his current sprites. Previously viewable in the 1.2 patch, or the preview, at least. Yeah, these are pretty much his in-between sprites. All he got was a change to resist his own D-Tech rifle with a pain immunity. So, forcing him to kill himself with his D-Tech rifle will be harder. And he got his drops changed slightly. Moving on to the Withered Knight. It looks like he kept moving for some reason. Not much changed. A bit of sound change. A bit of general house cleaning. So... Actually, he got a bunch of his attacks go a little bit summoned faster, I guess. I think I only changed his deaths down, to be honest. This is going to take a bit. From here, there's a bunch of minor changes involving Tormentor's Pyro Shot. Casting time has been increased. Also, the same for the Ancient Revenant's 15k attack. The Comet attack sound on the Frozen Knight has been changed, so it doesn't sound like there's something bigger than there is. Alright, our final one of two is on the Fallen Archangel. Basically, his deck rate has been cleaned up, so you get less errors on startup. His Pyro Cannon rocket shots have been removed. The Hellstorm rockets. Mostly because that attack was just too much. Made it look like he's actually firing from his cannons. His health has been reduced. Some resistance issues were corrected, so hence the health drop. And his speed was increased to keep in line with the other Which brings us to our final monster of this patch. I'm not going to say that too much has changed from him. Also reduced the health and gave him the corrected resistances. I'm still working on balancing him out pretty much. The biggest change for him is the lack of his melee stage. So if you actually go into his melee range now, prepare to die. Oh, as an added bonus, he will now fire phase shots as well. They seem to be a bit common for him. Oh, that is not what you meant to fire. Keep in mind that these are the 20 versions, so you don't want to be standing in them for too long. Anyway, that is everything that I wanted to go over in 1.1.7. Again, the full changelog is available inside the package. If I feel like I didn't cover something that I should have, or if you find anything, or what I meant to say is, if there was an issue that has not been addressed in this patch, please let me know so I can fix it for the next version up, which is 1.2. Because if I don't know about it, I can't really do anything about it, so it helps to know that these issues exist, so I can probably fix them, for example. I'm going to end these patch notes here. So the link to said patch will be in the description. Links to whatever else I said would exist hopefully are in the description below. If not, probably in the end card or in a comment below. If I have not done any of that, please let me know.